welcome to the Travel Ones podcast. Today, my guests are Tulsy and Rebekah Ball. How are you guys today?
Wonderful.
We're doing
thank
well.
You.
Yeah,
How are you?
Thank you for having us on.
I appreciate the time. It's going to be fun talking to the owners of two separate but related companies.
Yep.
Chaga Mushrooms and Gotmatcha,
Mm-hmm.
both on the health food spectrums. How's everything going? How's life treating you guys?
Life is great. It's been obviously an interesting couple of years for everyone.
Yeah.
Certainly I think the world doesn't get any less interesting. It's one of the things that's really been a kind of revelation for everybody in the last couple of years is how important it is to maintain your health on a daily basis, because you never know when you're going to be facing something.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's had a really big impact on the minds of people in general, and therefore has been very important for us in terms of the growth of our companies.
Yeah, there's definitely been a greater demand for health and wellness, and even people appreciating knowing more about their food. How is it grown? Where does it come from? I would say over the last year, I've had more people wanting to know that than ever before.
Yeah.
So I think people are really taking their health into their own hands and really, learning.
So is that lemonade out of the lemons type thing?
Absolutely.
That's how I look at it.
Well, you have to, right? Isn't that what life is made of? Silver linings, because there's always clouds.
It was interesting when it first started. My wife is a Pilates instructor, so and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have to clean the machines, and we're gonna have to scrub." I'm like, "I should be doing that anyways."
Yeah.
Right.
Certain things you should do.
It's kind of like eating better. You should be doing that anyways.
Right.
But
Exactly.
if it's because of the COVID and the being healthier, so be it.
That's one positive thing that comes out of it, is that people are more conscious of their well-being and taking their health into their own hands. And that's great.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's beyond time that we started eating better in this country. Diabetes is at an all-time high. There's 38 million people that are diabetic and 98 million pre-diabetic in this country, in a population that's going to be over the age of 60, 50% over 65 by 2050, and we're going to be part of those numbers. Mm-hmm. So it's up to us. For Gen X and on are all going to be over 65 by 2050. And if we don't really start taking care of ourselves, then as a population, we're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah.
We're going to, it's going to be very, very difficult. So I think sometimes there is a necessary spotlight that is cast, and it's there for a reason. And it's because, eating healthy and taking care of yourself is a priority, or you're just, unfortunately not going to be around.
When you need to do it now and not when you're sick.
Yeah.
I know we both were in the medical path. I was going to become a doctor. All the women in my family were nurses and doctors. And I was on that path because I like to heal people. And I realized going into my studies that I wanted to do preventative nutrition and heal people and help people learn how to take care of themselves and show them it's not complicated, so that they're not at the doctor having heart problems and diabetes.
Well, yeah, that's the reality of it, is if you're in the hospital and you're on a bed on a gurney, it's already too late. And then you're dealing with trauma, and that's what you want to avoid. Preventative is the name of the game. If you can avoid going to the doctor, right? Yeah. It's the old adage, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And, it's the truth. If you're able to improve your nutrition on a daily basis, you're going to have a much greater chance of avoiding a traumatic event that lands you, in a medication regimen that you'll have to stick with for the rest of your life.
And it's never too late to start.
No, absolutely. It's just interesting how everything ties in. My dad passed away a couple years ago, but he ate terrible, didn't exercise a lot and all that. And the doctor said it's reversible if he just starts eating better.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like
it's that simple.
Just eat better.
It is.
Like,
God put a lot of amazing products on this planet to heal our body. It's made to regenerate and heal itself. It's not made to break down so early and have so many problems.
Yeah.
So matcha tea I've heard of before. but a chaga mushroom.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I heard or seen anything that looks quite like a
Well,
chaga mushroom.
I've got one back here.
Oh, there it is.
You can kind of look at it. That is a chaga. And that's kind of that's the inside of the mushroom, the different layers of it. And chaga, I'll always wonder who it was that figured out it was good for them the first time.
I was gonna say,
to consume.
Who looks at that and goes, "Hey, let me try it."
The tribes of Northern Europe and North America have been using it for over 7,000 years.
Yeah.
So, and if you talk to those tribes, they believe that the Great Spirit was sitting in heaven and eating a piece of mammoth, and instead of finishing the mammoth, he threw it down to earth, threw the last of it down to earth, and it came down in a great fireball and exploded and landed on the trees. And it was the Great Spirit's gift to his mammoth hunters to be able to survive the wintertime. So
Okay.
it's got a very, very long history.
Yeah.
I just think that, when people went to Alaska for the first time, they didn't ask the natives what that, crazy thing they were cleaning off the trees was and making tea out of. They were like, it wasn't something that anybody asked, at least for, the first 75 or 100 years of being around Alaska. People started certainly discovering it more in the last 15 to 20 years. I think has been a real growth in knowledge about it, certainly in the last couple of years. But it is the most powerful antioxidant that's ever been found. 1 gram is equivalent to 6 pounds of blueberries in terms of antioxidant capability. And so phenomenally concentrated. It has 215 different compounds. 14 of those are found nowhere else in nature. And none of them are toxic. So it's 100% good for you. And I'd like to think it's probably the most important superfood that's ever been found, and it's certainly the one that's most important for me in my daily health. And it is helped change the lives of people in my family, people that we've shared it with.
Sure.
And it's been a great force for good, and it's definitely it's helped change my life.
Now, is it a matter of both products getting more exposure, or what kind of growth?
Education, I think, education is a big part of it. The good thing is there's more and more awareness, like we were talking about, with health and wellness, and people really wanting to learn how to keep themselves healthy. So I think, the last 20 years, medicinal mushrooms in general have become much more popular. There's a lot more awareness, taking reishi cordyceps. I was taking those back in 2000, but I had never heard of chaga until about 4 or 5 years ago. But what's helping, at least with the awareness of chaga, is because medicinal mushrooms are really, they're everywhere. The awareness has grown. So I think that's helping with getting chaga out there. And it's not quite as difficult to say, hey, have you ever heard of the mushroom? And same with matcha. When I started with gotmatcha 12 years ago, nobody knew what matcha was. And it was really challenging to get it going, because you had to sit there and explain and educate every single vendor, cafe, or anyone why they need it.
Yeah. It's not green tea. It's actually something above and beyond that.
Right.
And that's also, education obviously is a huge part of anything. For the mushroom, searches have gone up 700% on Google for the chaga mushroom since the beginning of COVID. And one of the reasons is because it's great for your immune system. It does help modulate your immune system and work with it in multiple ways to make it more efficient. So specifically for that reason, mushrooms tend to be great for that because of their very nature. They're the recyclers of this world, and that's kind of their job, is to take the carbon life form from its last iteration and then break it down into available carbon for the world to grow again. So They tend to be adaptogenic for that reason and work within your system to try and make it better.
It's a tool that the body uses.
Yeah, I think that's why I was so excited again to talk to you, because as a business traveler, and we talked real quick briefly, but when you're on the road, you're eating crap food.
Right.
Whether it's at the gas station to fill up and you just want to keep going for another 6 hours, so you're grabbing whatever. We talked about getting into a hotel late at night, nothing's up, the vending machine's still there. So as a business traveler, it seems like a lot of the tea for the morning, and then even the mushrooms.
Well,
good combo.
Easy to travel with.
Yeah, I think it should be. I mean, frankly, it should be mandatory, especially.
Well, of course you do.
I do, but
as a nutritionist, it should be mandatory.
It should. Well, no, really, I think that for a business traveler, and I know this because I've traveled for business my entire life. I made, before we started the Chugga company, my brother and I made television shows for documentary networks. So Discovery Channel, History Channel, Destination America, Sci-Fi. I've sold show CMT, sold multiple shows to many networks, done over 250 episodes of primetime television, and all of them were on the road.
Yeah.
And and so for every single time it was, well, you're hopping on a plane with 200 people that you don't know, who are from around the world, and they're bringing all of their pathogens to the party, and you're literally constantly in the sandbox. And then the second you go into something that is a convention of any kind, then all of a sudden trade shows, you're like, wow, now I'm on the floor with 20,000 people, and everyone brought their pathogens to the party. And in a lot of cases, they're coming from
everywhere,
40 to 70 countries from around the world. And so, it's certainly a situation where your immune system gets an education because it's constantly being exposed.
That's a good word for it.
To everybody's bugs. But, you want to have a shield. You want to have something that gives it that helps give you the ability to resist whatever it is that's out there. And that's one of the things that I noticed, is that, when I was in my previous industry in the television business, I got sick no matter what I did. And, I've eaten healthy my whole life. My mom raised me vegetarian, and, and so it's never been a case of that. I've always been in very good shape because I always exercised, but just exposed to that many bugs, I was sick a couple times a year. I was all, it happened. I would be on a plane, and 2 days later, I'm sitting there with a sore throat and sniffling and going, dang it, whoever was in seat 7B gave it to me.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. But I have,
and then add children in.
Yeah, and then add kids
and all of their pathogens
and everything that they pull from their daily sandbox at school. But I have not been sick. And that's the real big difference for me, is even with all the travel that we do, and I'm back and forth to Alaska on a regular basis, because that's where our supply side is, where our harvest network is, and we work with the natives up there. And so I'm flying back and forth to Alaska to bring, to round up the chaga and get it down here. And, you'd think, exposed to the weather extremes and all that, but I haven't gotten sick. I've been, knock on wood, very lucky. And I think also I carry a shield because of that mushroom.
Well, it's interesting, because I always thought, I interviewed a supplement company owner too, vitamins and supplements. And it seems like if you had multiple, like, I'm an independent contractor, so that I have to take care of myself. But if you have a lot of people that travel for work for your company, it would almost pay for you to give them the chaga, or the things that are going to keep them healthy on the road.
Yeah. So, I look at it as like
it's part of the budget that.
That's what I mean.
The food budget, right? I mean, I always call the chaga and the products that we make, I'm like, it's like that drink, Ensure. This is your insurance that you're getting all the nutrients. And not only is it amazing with the antioxidants and as a shield, but you're getting the nutrition. And if you've got a balance going on in your body of everything you need, vitamins, minerals, aminos, trace minerals, your body works better, your energy's better, your mind works better, you handle stress better, and travel and everything.
Now
So
that would definitely,
it is an insurance for your health.
If we could get on as a insurance rider for Blue Shield.
But it's one of those things that is a daily, like for the kids, the boys, it's not even a question, oh, do you feel like it in your shake or your tea to get today?
Well, I'll be honest, there's a couple groups that this would apply for would be athletes.
Yeah.
You know, that I mean, no one thinks about a professional athlete is on, like I just interviewed two punters, one's on the Kansas City Chiefs. But I mean, they're doing the same thing. They're getting on the plane with all the pathogens. They're getting to a new area. They have to handshake, meet all the people, and this and that, and
constantly,
and yet they have to perform at the absolute highest level.
Yeah, that they can't afford a day off.
Yeah,
you know,
or to not feel good or feel a little sick.
Yeah, anyone, well, and also anybody who's in public speaking of any kind, anyone who's in any of the performance arts.
I was gonna say musicians.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Musicians on the road. You know what it's like to do 200 cities in 350 days.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and you hear about constantly. There's always, you know, somebody going down because they got the flu, and all of a sudden you've got five tour dates get canceled.
Yeah.
You know. Yep. So you know, I think that it's something that we're, you know, really looking to try and expand our reach to anybody who travels for a living. I think that if you're a road dog or a road warrior, then you know it is an essential part of your toolkit.
Yeah.
Now, with the Chaga Shot needs to be refrigerated, correct?
It does not. It tastes best if it's cold. But we add a fermented brown rice. I know that sounds silly, but there's a fermented brown rice in there that acts as a organic preservative.
Okay.
And so we have added that. We originally did not add anything, and even though the extraction that we do had been shown in shelf life studies to be stable, the FDA would not allow us to distribute it outside of a refrigeration unless we added something. So we have, in the last 6 months, implemented the addition of a organic brown rice extract that is a preservative, and that keeps it. That we now have the shelf life study that shows that it is stable out to 8 months, you know, recorded, third party accredited, and then you know we're obviously continuing our internal studies, and it's good for a year, but we can't certify that because it's not third party accredited. So,
but the concentrate doesn't ever need refrigeration.
Yeah.
There's no water activity. It's all been dehydrated. So that one, you only need it.
Yeah, I was just looking at those little shots. Like I know that the bigger one didn't need to be, but I thought the little shots needed to be. So that's
teaspoons of the concentrate is equivalent to the little shots.
Yeah.
So I think the concentrate's easy to travel with.
The concentrate, well, you know, what we should do is do like a 2 ounce bottle for the traveler, so that it fits underneath the carry-on requirements. And I think that's a great idea. We should.
That's why I was looking at those shots.
Toward that, but the shots are great. Yeah, that's what I usually do. I'll be like, you know, I'll throw 7 of them in a plastic bag and drop it in my carry-on, and I'm ready to go. I've got a week's supply there.
Got a question about the soap.
Yeah.
So what's the deal?
So I'll bring the mushroom back in here. So
exfoliate my skin with that thing.
The outside of the mushroom is over 98% melanin, and melanin is the antioxidant that the mushroom uses to protect itself, as well as it's the antioxidant that our skin uses to protect itself from the sun and from damage and to heal itself. So, and it's also the most bioavailable source of melanin that's ever been found in nature. So we take the skin of the mushroom and we do a fine grind with the skin, and we then do a 1-year extraction process. With that, we do it's a very low temperature, long-term extraction so that we preserve as much of the melanin as possible because it is sensitive to heat. And then we use that in the manufacture of the soap. So, it's an easy way to get the nutrition directly to your skin, because your skin is your body's last priority when it comes to nutrition. Yeah. I mean, it takes in, okay, I'm getting a low battery warning on my computer. So I'm going to have to step out here and I'll go get a cord, and Rebekah will keep talking. But the great thing about it is that it's directly available source of nutrition, because your body it absorbs nutrition through its digestive system, then it goes to your organs first, and through your blood, then to your muscles, and skin last. And this is a way to get the nutrition directly to your skin first.
Nice.
So, I had your brother. I texted him.
Oh, okay.
To bring one in.
to bring in my cord. Yeah. Oh wait, you know what? I think I have one right here.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Do we need an extension?
Oh, hey, Rebekah.
Yes.
I always thought tea, was a hot or warm product.
Because normally you have to steep the tea leaves to get any of the nutrients out of it, just like a chaga tea.
But your matcha is different. You can.
Yeah, so matcha goes through a 5-year process, completely different from regular green tea, which is sencha. Matcha becomes tencha after a 5-year growth. It goes through shade growing. I could explain it for a half an hour how they do matcha, turn it into green tea into matcha. But basically, by the time matcha is done growing, I have a picture visiting my farm in Kitashima in Japan. Laying on it, it's over 3 to 4 feet tall.
That's huge.
So they take the top leaves and then they have a special process where they air dry it and then they age it. It goes through an actual 1-year aging in cold refrigeration, kind of like a fine wine. And then they grind the entire leaf into a powder. So you're getting a whole food. If you drop it in hot water and think it's just going to dissolve, it won't, because there's fiber. I'm like, if your matcha dissolves, that means they're adding probably brown rice solids or something else to it. So that's why with matcha, it doesn't matter the temperature. Like when I had a matcha cafe, the most popular way to drink it was blended in like fresh almond milk and ice, and we would do ice blended drinks. You're still going to get the same nutritional benefits because you're not trying to steep out the nutrients from the leaf.
Because again, being a business traveler, I'm not traveling, so it seems like it'd be easy to travel and you can just mix it out.
It is, because everybody enjoys a nice hot cup of tea, but it's not always practical. Yeah. And so I take my bag of matcha. I have about 9 different flavors, because sometimes you don't want to just put straight matcha tea powder into your water. I mean, it'll get the job done and give you the energy, but you're going to get little chunks and it's very green tasting. So I've got, I have a chai and a caramel apple and vanilla and mint. So I'll take different ones and pour it into, I take a water bottle and I'll do a couple squirts of the Chugga concentrate, and then I'll pour some of the matcha blend. I like to do the mint, shake it up and drink it.
Ooh.
It's very easy to consume that way. Or I even add it to a protein powder blend that I make. I also add it to bars that I dehydrate that are raw, but they have a 1-year shelf life, sorry. And those you can travel with anywhere.
And there are 13 grams of protein and only 4 grams of sugar, but those are the types of snacks that we should be eating when we travel.
Exactly.
Versus the Twinkie or any other brand name crap food that's out there.
Yeah, there's plenty of bars out there that are high protein bars, but if you look at the ingredients, it's extracted isolates like pea or whey protein isolate, which is very difficult to digest, and then it's a whole bunch of chemicals and sugar, alcohol, sweeteners, and I'm like, well, that's not a meal and you're not going to absorb it, where everything that we make is from the whole food state. We make things that have real foods. Even the protein that we use is sacha inchi seeds ground into a powder. It's pumpkin seeds ground into a powder, so it's pure food. We get algae from the Klamath Lake in Oregon. We put that in there. So really, I tell people, between the protein meal or the bar, I'm like, you could pretty much live off of those and add some chaga in there, which is actually in the bar, for a month if you had to. And
I mean, literally, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if I'm sitting in the airport, on an airplane, like you said, you get a bag of nuts if you're lucky, if it's a long enough flight.
You can only eat some nuts.
Yeah, I know exactly. But it's just interesting that you can have a high protein, good sourced food that's not going to make you feel like you just ate a cheeseburger.
Right. And it's nutrient dense and it keeps you satiated for hours. And that's, I mean, I selfishly develop a lot of products going, okay, I'm a very busy mom, wife, business owner. We go nonstop, sometimes 7 days a week, so, and I have a very sensitive digestive system. That's kind of one of the things that pushed me into studying nutrition when back in 1995 was because of gut issues and hormone issues. So, I've kind of taken that going, okay, if I can digest this and I feel great, then probably most people and women and, kids, everybody can handle it. So
there you go.
There you go. I mean, our kids, I've had people in their 80s going through cancer treatments on it. I have an 8-year-old that I put the protein meal, they actually put it in a feeding tube, and it's one of the only things they can digest.
There you go.
So, to me, it's about digestibility. If you can digest it and you feel good, then guess what? You're going to have better energy. You're going to feel good. And plus, matcha and chaga pass through the blood-brain barrier, so they support cognitive function. And most things that you take out there for energy that have black tea or just pure caffeine or coffee, those affect your heart rate. They do nothing to help with your focus and dealing with stress. And everybody needs that, especially if you're traveling. It's important.
I started looking into nootropics too. Kind of the whole brain, using more of your brain, that type of thing. I'm old.
You're not that old.
I'm old. Growing up, I feel so disappointed that not that for my parents, because my parents only shared what they knew and what was shared with them, but we were sold a line of BS growing up. At least in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
It's like, eat this. Oh, this is healthy for you, and this is healthy, and you're like, none of it was healthy for you.
Or the fat-free craze, or everything was like no fat and.
Well, it was that, but I mean, it's also
food pyramid.
We got
pyramid
right off the beginning. The number one food on the bottom was bread.
Yeah.
It was like, you should eat bread at every meal, and it's like, really, and I mean,
supported by the meat and dairy industry too.
I don't think we were quite educated correctly in that way. And the truth is I don't know if you had nutrition in your high school education, but I didn't. No. There was nowhere. I mean, maybe there used to be a cooking class as a 12th grade elective, for women. In high, like literally, that's it. That was the one thing. If you're in 12th grade, you got wood shop or garage, and girls got cooking or sewing.
You have to study on your own.
It's obviously it's definitely changed since then, but that was growing up in the 80s.
Yeah.
That was high school in the 80s for me.
See, I started studying nutrition when I was 12 because my family started eating healthier. So I took the old Betty Crocker cookbook and went through it and was like, how do I make everything healthier? Back in the late 80s and 90s, that was not the cool thing. I mean, I was the biggest science health nerd in high school ever.
It's totally true. I mean, you said, like I said, the dairy and all that. I don't blame my parents because they were just doing what they were.
Yeah. Right.
But boy,
I think a lot of people came out of that time very definitely self-educated.
Yeah.
Even if somebody got a degree in it or not, really, you had to really search and hunt. You didn't have the internet. I didn't back in the days.
It's like the show, so, I always tell people back in, 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had a podcast that's getting out to 150 countries with thousands of listeners just out of my house.
Yeah.
I would have had to go to a studio. You had a producer, had edit, the whole thing.
Right. It's changed so much. Well, that's why I feel fortunate. When I became a nutritionist and an herbalist, it was like, okay, great. I can help maybe 5 or 6 at that time, women or moms at a time. And I'm like, how am I going to really affect the world or, at least hundreds of people if I'm confined to just working with a few people a week?
Sure.
So I think in creating the products that we could say, okay, these are the products that you need for health and wellness. And this is something that's simple that you can incorporate. And we can send this anywhere. and educate anywhere.
I'd like to see Tulsi walking through the airport with a big black chaga mushroom. No,
You know,
it's fine.
I actually,
We had-
so I do have the largest one ever harvested by the tribes in Alaska that we work with. And you know, when I went up there, it was a couple years back, right before the pandemic hit. And so the chieftain of this village that we work with was like, I found a very special one in the forest, and you know, I'm saving it for you, because usually they'll chop them down into pieces for quicker drying, to be able to ship so that there's no chance of mold. But this one in specific, he's like, no, I need to save it for you. And so I got up there. I'll find the picture here for you. But I got up there, and it was when it was harvested. He said he was out in the forest, and he had taken a different route than he'd ever taken before to get back to the village after harvesting for a week with his sons. His sons took the dog sleds with all the mushrooms that they'd harvested, and then he took a different route back. And he said he came around a bend in the river, and there was this massive chugga on a tree, and he saved it for me. And so this is the king, and I don't know if you can see, but that is, it's literally, right? It's literally, no, I actually, so it's the size of a torso. It weighed 55 pounds.
Oh my gosh.
And you know, that, so I brought it as I took my my carry-on, and I put my carry-on into check-in, and I brought the mushroom as my carry-on. And and so I go up to security.
I was going to ask you,
I laid the mushroom on the belt, and it rolls through. And luckily, I was in Anchorage, so you know they knew a little bit more. But the guy at security was like, "Holy crap! Is that a chaga?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is." He's like, "Man, that's the biggest one I ever seen." I'm like, "It's the biggest one I've ever seen too." He's like, "Yeah, exactly." Yeah. I was down here. They're like, "What are you bringing, a club to beat the pilot?" I mean, like they would consider it a weapon anywhere else in the world. Exactly. But you know, because I mean, a 55-pound chunk of something that's hard as a rock, you know, yeah, sure, I could, you know, I wouldn't use it as a weapon, but it could be used as one. But yeah, they let me bring it through, and then I was fortunate enough that when I got on the plane, the middle seat next to me and the row was open, so I sat it down in the seat, put a seatbelt on it.
Of course you did.
And it took the flight down.
Did you end up using it?
No, it's a trophy piece. It will never be used. It lives. It has a special place on the top shelf in the refrigerator, and it lives in there. And I break it out every once in a while for photo shoots and stuff like that. We did a after party for the Grammys, or a backstage party for the Grammys a couple of years ago, in 2020, and so we had it backstage there, and Miley Cyrus got to meet it, and Kesha. That's King. We named it King Chugga.
Read the name.
Of course you did.
Got to name it. And so we introduced it to you know, a bunch of musicians, and Johnny Depp. Although I don't think he knew what it was. He was on a different plane.
He went the other direction.
He was on a different plane mentally. He was like, "I don't know what that is," and walked away.
Yeah.
But you know, yeah, and got to introduce. You know, I'd spent time with Taylor Hawkins, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
And but you know, he was a big fan as well. So it was definitely, it's like I said, it comes out to some special events with us.
It's got its own writer, you know.
Yeah,
it does.
It's all special needs. So I'm curious, here in California, because I live in Redondo Beach, you know, we have Sprouts, we have some of the nice, the Whole Foods and all that, but there are areas that I go to quite often that don't have specialty supermarkets even.
Yeah.
So
right.
How do you get a specialty product like that out and about?
Well, you know,
I mean, if you want to get, I mean, you can try and get it into the actual specialty stores in the different areas, even stores like that don't have a Whole Foods or a health food store. You know, I'm like, that's something that we can actually start reaching out to get in.
Yeah, we're certainly working on retail presence, but that's also, you know, that's difficult. Distribution is always a question of reach. The easiest way is to just check out the websites
online.
You know, and that's why we're really focused on education through that is the beauty of modern technology. You couldn't, you know, you really could not have done what we're doing 10 or 20 years ago. And you couldn't, you know, you didn't have Amazon and you didn't have websites that were capable of delivering to anybody anywhere. So you know, that's the best way is to you know, you can follow us. I'm at Chugit, CHAGIT 360 on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And
I'm at gotmatcha.
And yeah, she's at gotmatcha, GOTMATCHA. And then our website is chagit.com, CHAGIT.com, and hers is gotmatcha.com. So that's the easiest way.
You got the good ones,
I actually do have I have a lot of clients that have been with me for a long time, and they will say, hey, I'm going to be on a trip. I'm going to be at this hotel for a week or two. And I ship to people's hotels all the time. Yeah. So that's something that, you know, makes it easier if you know you'll be out of town and you're trying to schedule it, you know.
Yeah, and I would say we've done the same thing. Is, you know, I'll have people who reach out and they say, "Oh, I'm going to be at this hotel in 2 days. Can you have it there waiting for me?" And so we'll do that. We'll make sure that we get it there for them so that they have their stock when they get into town.
I get to work at the Rodeo every year in Las Vegas, so it's everyone's like, I'm like, see, everyone says fun.
Well, it is work. Are you doing like the PBR finals?
NFR, the National Finals Rodeo.
National Final Rodeo. Okay,
16 straight days, no days off.
Yeah.
We work 9 to about 5, 9 to 6, and then we're expected to go out certain nights, you know, to different events that we have and all that. Yeah. And then there's things you want to go see, but the young people just have a blast. Like the kids in their 20s that are my daughter's ages, they're out they're no problem.
Yeah.
We need to hook you up with some products before you go.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm going to have a whole row of products sitting there.
Is it going out and this is first thing in the morning that you take after?
Well, I made the deal with myself that I would only go out every other night at the most.
Yeah.
One night of recovery.
Exactly. Give yourself at least a day of recovery.
And these are great recovery products too. So if you had a late night and maybe had too many drinks or too much heavy food, drink them in the morning. And let me tell you.
Again, it's still crap food. I mean, because you wake up at the MGM. We stay at the MGM every year. It's no big deal. But where do you eat? You know, what do you eat in the breakfast?
Yeah.
And at lunch is they give us a little box lunch.
Yeah.
Know, which is great because the lunches in the MGM are like $25, you know. So they give us a free box lunch, but the box lunch is crap food. It's potato chips, a sandwich, and you know, whatever. And then you go out to eat dinner. It's you know, and drink.
Yeah, I know. I take the shakes with us everywhere we go, and we have that for breakfast. And then, you know, I always figure as long as I've got, you know, I'll put Chugga in my water bottle. And I'll drink it in between meals, maybe a little matcha, and then you're getting all the nutrients that's lacking in food because it really is the most nutrient dense foods. There's really nothing that touches it. So I figure, well, if I'm eating, you know, even if we got with the kids and we're having some French fries and, you know, fish and chips or whatever, I'm like, well, I had your Chugga. That's literally equivalent to getting more than you would eat in a salad, as far as that's how nutritious it is. So it's not just for the energy and you know, immunity, but the nutrition in it is what keeps your body working optimally because you're getting everything you need. And that's really hard.
I've gone in 13 rodeos. I think I've come home not sick twice.
Wow. Yeah,
well,
you need
let's see what we can do to make that 3 times.
Yeah. Digestion, like you out for dinner, you eat that, you know, steak, potatoes, whatever you have. And I'm telling you, like anytime I eat things that I wouldn't normally eat. I'll have, you know, a good couple doses of our products, and then within a half an hour, my digestion has been aided, and I feel a million times better.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be key.
It doesn't sit there and store.
Well, and that really is that's the first thing that I noticed when I started doing it back in 2015, when we found the mushroom and you know, started a company because it worked for us. And you get back to the selfish, everything that we do is because it worked for us, and we just want to be able to share it with people. But you know, that was the first thing that I noticed, is that I had heartburn for probably 20 years. And heartburn and acid reflux. And I was a guy who carried a pack of Tums at all times. And you know, and I would say I went through, like, you know, I'd go through a little roll, and then had the big jar with the 500 of them in my you know, in my bathroom at all times. And but that's just, you know, that's what I felt like I needed to do in order to not be in pain.
Yeah.
And within, you know, within a couple of weeks of starting to drink, and I started just drinking Chugga tea. We hadn't even created our extraction process yet, but just drinking the tea every day, after like 3 weeks, that heartburn went away. And I haven't bought a thing of Tums in 5 years. And, you know, I'm sure the people who make Tums are not happy.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but I'm happy.
I was gonna ask you, I mean, the reality of it is there's a lot of money behind the products, i.e. Tums or any other things. I mean, there's a lot of money behind them that they don't want products like yours out on the world.
No, these work. You don't need to take anything over the counter. And guess what? It's food.
Yeah.
So everybody can take it.
Yeah, certainly. I would, you know, I'd say that there is, you know, I don't think it's any great mystery to people that that the Food and Drug Administration has the two industries lumped up as one, because they do work together. You know, the food industry in this country and the drug industry in this country share a lot of executives at the upper echelon. And you know, they do. And they do.
They want you on medication.
You know, and
totally agree.
I mean, that's the way they make their money. They make their money by ensuring that you stay a customer.
Well, that's why, I mean, that's why I brought it up. You know, I didn't think it was that controversial, but they're there to make money. Tums wants to sell more Tums.
They're in the business of keeping customers.
Nobody makes money if we're taking care of ourselves and eating foods that, you know, nature intended.
Yeah.
I always joke, like, you know, the computer viruses, you know, do the computer virus defending companies create the viruses so they can create their own self-perpetuating? Hey, you can get this because there's this new virus out there that we made.
The upgrade.
Yeah, got to pay for the upgrade.
Job insurance, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you run a security company, that's your job, is to put people in place so they can try and break through your security.
Yeah, and that's it. But literally, I mean, that's how I look at some of the drug companies. Because, you know, if Procter and Gamble or whoever, I don't even know, they make this food product that they know is going to upset your stomach and give you indigestion and create diabetes, and it's heavy sugar and fructose. But then they're going to give you, they also own the company that makes a pill that'll help you relieve your stomach.
Yep, absolutely. But then that pill has like 4 or 5 side effects.
I was going to say,
but we got a pill for each of those.
Yeah. Exactly.
So now you need 7 pills and you'll be fine.
And then you end up with some new problem that you never had ever before because of the medication.
Well, then all of a sudden you're in the hospital and you got cancer. And it's like, oh, how did that happen?
Well, I get into when I'm over 50 now, so I'm supposed to do the annual checkup. And the guy goes, what meds are you on? And I go, nothing. They're like, what do you mean? Like, you got to be on something. I said, well, no, I take a leave, you know, if I fall, hit myself or whatever. But like, what, you know?
I know.
What are you on? I'm like, nothing. Like, nothing.
Yeah, that's how. But that's the sad reality.
It's really sad.
The vast majority of people in this country, and frankly in this world, are on some kind of pharmaceutical regimen for the majority of their life. You know, they have the start sometime in their 40s, sometimes earlier than that. If they have some kind of autoimmune condition, one of the 260 autoimmune conditions like lupus, or or if they've got Crohn's or anything of that nature, they're probably from their late teens going into their 20s. They're on medication their whole life, and they're fighting against that their whole life. And it's really, it's a horrible way to have to live.
It doesn't have to be that way.
I'd like to believe that there is another option. And that's, that's what I'd like to believe. I think that there is a way to feed yourself and stay healthy without having to, live your life on pills.
Right. Well, if you go to a doctor, they're going to prescribe a medication versus prescribe, let's get you healthy and let's teach you how to eat properly.
Well, I saw a documentary where doctors aren't trained how to
14 hours of nutrition.
No.
They have 14 hours of nutrition on average and into their time.
Yeah, but every single year they go to conferences that are paid for and sponsored by pharmaceutical companies that tell them how much money they'll make for selling those drugs. And they give them training on the new drugs. And it's a lot of money. Oh yeah, absolutely. If you're the #1 doctor in a region, you get, their bonus packages for moving large amounts of pharmaceuticals are very, very nice. Yeah. They start with a cruise and they end up at cars. You might get a Mercedes if you're the #1 doctor in a region.
Yeah.
And that's just, those are the bonus packages.
That's why our balance is important. Medication also, it makes your body so acidic, and acidity is the feeding ground. That's how disease grows. Yeah. We all have cancer cells floating around, but if you keep your body healthy and alkaline enough, it's not going to be an issue. But as soon as you're overly acidic, pretty much 99% of the population has acidosis without even realizing it. And all of these things pop up that shouldn't have ever surfaced.
That's why I wanted to talk to you guys, because I fully believe that we can take care of ourselves with what's out there. We just got to get it out there.
Yeah. And we got to start soon enough. You got to start soon enough. You got to start, that's the whole point of preventative is do it on a daily basis. That way you don't have to try and catch up. Look, if you've got a stage 2 or a stage 3 cancer, God forbid a stage 4, you're going to have to be on medication. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You got to see a doctor. That's it. You're not going to be able to preventative yourself out of a stage 3 cancer. It's just that's not how it works. You need to take something on a daily basis before you ever get it. Right. That's the idea. The idea is stay healthy so that you don't ever have to worry about what it means to not be healthy.
No, and they're talking about one of the things that maybe you guys would know more. You're in the field, is the Alzheimer's and dementia is now they're saying that better diet will help keep your brain function at a higher level. And
absolutely, the plaques that create Alzheimer's feed on sugar. So if you're putting excess refined sugars into your body, you're feeding what's going to eat your brain in the long run.
And excitotoxins destroy your brain's ability to communicate. And guess what's in all the foods that kids love to eat?
Sugar.
Cytotoxins, which are sugars. And so, pretty much people are just destroying their brain on a daily basis.
And that's why I go back to, all the cereals and all the stuff we were supposed to eat for breakfast.
Yeah. And maybe the first food they give babies is the fortified rice cereal.
Yeah.
And that's one of the worst things you can give to babies. And I'm just like, it's so backwards.
So, but it's all about money.
It is.
So, what do you guys have? Do you guys do trade shows, or I know you were at the farmers markets, and you're doing kind of for the local people.
We've done local trade shows like the one in Anaheim, the Expo West.
Yeah,
we did Expo West. We're gonna. I think the next big one that we're gonna be in is Supply Side out in Vegas in the beginning of October.
Cooling off out there.
Yeah, we've got a couple of trips that we're going to be making in between now and then. We got a family road trip. We're going to be going to 17 states over the course of the
11 days.
Of course of 2 weeks across the country. This in later next month.
Where are you going?
We're going Arizona, New Mexico,
So the 40.
Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, and then back Kansas, Colorado, Utah, and back.
Park Griswold right here.
we were going to go over the 40 to Mexico all the way to Tennessee because my daughter's outside of Knoxville.
Okay, that's where we're going, right outside, just north of Knoxville.
Where?
We got a friend who's on a lake about an hour north of Knoxville. He lives on a lake house, got a big 30-foot lily pad on the lake, outdoor living room.
They live about 35 minutes northeast of Knoxville, in Morristown.
Okay.
But so we were going to go there. But
we were 15 minutes away from where we're going.
I know. We were going to come south and come through Florida and then go the 10 route coming back.
Okay. That's the route my brother's going.
Okay.
So we're going to do the north route and go up the 70 on the way back. He's doing the south route to Florida and coming along the 10 back.
So are you RVing it or?
No, we're driving an SUV.
Okay.
So we're gonna hop in the SUV and
we'll stop a lot.
Well, because several of the places that we're going are either family or friends.
Yeah.
And we have a place to stay.
Or rock hunting too. We're going to be doing a lot of that. That's one of our favorite things.
What?
Boys, we go rock hunting.
Okay, I thought that's what you said.
Yeah, we have hundreds of pounds of different rocks and gems that we've found.
Yeah, so we're going to Rockhound State Park in New Mexico, and we're going to Crater of Diamonds in Arkansas. Those are going to be two of the stops.
It's fun.
Yeah, I'm getting some future stops maybe for me.
Yeah,
because we're going to take the RV. My wife's friends opening up a theater in downtown Nashville. I think in September. So we were saying maybe we'll just take it out and go see my daughter and then come down south.
Yeah, I love Nashville.
I've never been.
Got a lot of friends there. I know.
This is new for me.
Yeah, she'll get to see it a little bit on the way.
I started traveling with him, but I'd say the last few years he got me out traveling. Now kids are.
Have you been to Nashville?
No, never been to Tennessee.
Wait till you see Broadway Street.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's a short version of the Las Vegas Strip.
It is.
Really?
That's why they call it Nash Vegas.
Yeah.
Or Athens of the South, whatever. It's got a lot to do. I love the that park is beautiful. The park in the center of town with the replica of the Parthenon.
Yeah. It's in what's the movie? Percy Jackson's Olympia.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
We've done Hawaii more often lately. I think we've done Hawaii 5 times in the last few years.
Yeah, we've done a lot of Hawaii. My dad lives in Hawaii, so.
What island?
On the Big Island.
Okay. So, I was just there 3 weeks ago for work.
We went in April with the kids.
Yeah, we were there in April with the kids.
And we also have a hotel in Honolulu, or is it?
Yeah, they're in Waikiki.
That uses the Chaga soap when they have their little
nice
on it. It's very cute.
Yeah.
So
we do custom soaps for a couple hotels. So.
That's
good excuse to go out there,
There you go. Yeah, because my one store on the Big Island, Parker Ranch, closed up. Waimea Attack is still there. My store in Maui closed up during the COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My store on Kauai stayed open because he's got stables and he does the rodeo down there too. Okay. So, but it's kind of crazy. No one knows that Hawaii has such a big cowboy cow.
Oh, it's huge cowboy country. Yeah. My dad's about 15 minutes from Waimea.
Oh, there you go.
He's right down. You know where Honoka'a is?
I've been there, but
if you go north from Waimea, as soon as you hit the ocean,
I've been there.
That's where my dad is.
Yeah, I just drove. There was a nice guy. He owns a stable going up over it. And right on the left hand side, a big ranch. I mean, a huge ranch. And he's got about 30 horses that he rents out.
Okay. Some amazing ranches.
There's some beautiful.
Right down in that right where it ends, and then you start going left to go down to Waikoloa. They're all that big ranch is right on the coast. I mean, like on the cliff.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Oh, incredible.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, that's a good idea. Getting the soap into some different hotels and all that.
Yeah. We even got the concentrate into they did some signature drinks with it, cocktails, adding it.
So it becomes a business expense to go to Hawaii.
Exactly.
It is.
We need to go
That's what we love. We love business travel expenses, right?
Next, I got to bring everyone to Japan. We have an open invitation to go back to the farm And we were supposed to go this last year, but of course, travel there is not easy.
The interesting thing that maybe you could share is the southern part of Japan is like tropical.
I felt like I was in a Jurassic Park movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's not Tokyo at all.
No.
Beautiful, gorgeous, like rainforest. And
yeah.
elevation was about 5,000. I flew into, or I did a train into Shizuoka, and that's where they do the drying of the matcha.
Wow.
And then we took a little hopper plane into Kagoshima, and then we got to drive an hour and a half into Kirishima, which is like you're literally feel like you're in the rainforest.
Yeah, I saw some a documentary. I went through there and I'm like, that's Japan.
I know.
Yeah.
I was in shock. I took a lot of pictures, like just beautiful.
Yeah. The difference between Hokkaido on the north and then because Japan's north to south, and it's as long as the entire coast of the United States.
Yeah.
So it's as long as from the top of the northern island all the way down to where where the matcha grows is as far as from Seattle to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So
and you've got, I mean, it's next to Russia. I mean, it's up there.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it gets freezing in the north.
Yeah.
They used to have Chaga mushrooms on the North Island of Japan.
Oh.
Yeah, they were over harvested and there are none since like the 1700s. But the samurai used to use chaga and matcha, and then they used all the chaga.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah.
See.
I always knew about the matcha being the food of the samurai warrior, but I didn't realize they had the chaga going there.
Yeah, they made tea with both.
There you go.
Rebekah, you are consuming samurai foods.
That's right.
Going down a samurai.
The food of choice is samurai warrior foods.
Find your inner balance. That's what it's all about.
That is.
You have to be a warrior, so I think it's very fitting.
Yeah.
One last question, and I always ask this of parents. How do you guys balance being involved parents and then having two separate companies that are kind of probably always on your brain?
It's a lot. I mean, honestly, the products keep me sane and keep me focused and allow me to do long days and keep my patience. I have a lot of people who own businesses and they're like, how do you not drink 2 to 3 glasses of wine every night to get through it? I'm like, honestly, I never even want wine in the evening. Usually I have a second matcha chaga drink in the afternoon and I'm good because we have a lot going on, any parent as your kids get older. But I've always kept them very involved. I've brought them to events.
We put them to work. They have small hands.
Boom. That's a secret.
Actually, our 14-year-old wants to help with doing bars this summer, but I try to involve them and then they really appreciate and understand that we work really hard for what we do. And they have always been privy to the understanding of nutrition and food. And I mean, they'll tell kids in their class, why are you eating that McDonald's? You're going to get diabetes and gain 30 pounds. I mean, they're a little extreme with it, but they have grown up with that and they know how they feel. So because they know that what we're doing is an amazing thing and they're like, great, grow the company because we're going to take it over one day. Really. They're like, okay, we get it. So, we have things we have to do. And when we can take them, we do. But we keep them very involved. They know about all the we talked to them about contracts, things that we're developing, and there's times where I feel a little bad because sometimes I can't do everything that they have going on with school, or maybe I don't have them in a lot of sports like a lot of moms do. But, we find our balance. When we have free time, we're like hiking, go to the pool, tennis, keep them busy.
And I would say we're fortunate. They are family businesses and therefore our family is involved and we keep it that way.
I used to, when my kids were in high school, because like in the summertime, you're like, well, what do you do with them? It's like, I'm got to go on the road. So I would take them, and I took them on a couple of trips and they would be like, okay.
Yeah.
That ain't so bad. Like it's a lot of fun, but 4-hour drive down to, near Mexico, it's like,
Yeah, but they get it. They understand, and I think they're a little more appreciative and aware of the dollar and, working hard.
Yeah.
So I make sure they see that, I used to deliver cleanses in Santa Barbara and I'd have the kids in the back and we'd go into everyone's houses and big smile.
So do what you got to do. How do you fill up your downtime when you're traveling? Meaning, like if you're sitting in the airport, are you reading? Are you listening to music? Are you trying to unplug?
I like to walk.
Yeah.
I have a hard time sitting for too long. But for me, I'm like, let's go walk. Let's, that's definitely one of my things.
Yeah, I would say, I am a pretty voracious reader, so
Okay.
I do a lot of reading. I always have. I was that kid that at 14 years old, I literally read the entire encyclopedia front to back.
Wow.
He is a reader.
Because
he updates me on things.
I have a thirst for knowledge. Truthfully, sure. And it's a completely selfish desire to want to know as much as I can. I don't like to feel uneducated on any subject. So I'm constantly reading, I'm constantly researching, always looking for new innovations in the fields of biochemistry, always looking for new innovations, always looking for new places to go. That's why we have a road trip, and I've got every single mile laid out, and the time it's going to take for each one. The hotel's all laid out. I built out the itinerary. I love to do that. So
yeah, I'm the same way, unfortunately. Unfortunately for my wife.
Yeah.
But she always tells me now, she goes, every museum I like, because I was like, hey, there's a museum right there, let's go stop.
Yeah.
And we get down, she goes, hey, that's pretty cool.
Exactly.
So
I like going anywhere new.
That's the great thing is, I've always been that way, and so she loves it. I get to show her things that she's never seen before, and
that's where the travel wins comes from.
Oh,
so for me, when I was traveling, if I had to go up to San Jose, it's just 6-7 hour drive. And if I only focused on my sales going up for that 7-hour drive, and when I'd get there, I'd be like, oh shit, I got to sell this much, I got to make this much, and they did this much last year, and my projections are this much, and blah 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 blah. And so I would make up things as I was going along, and I brought my camera, so I'd stop at a museum, or I would stop to take a look at an overlook that I took a different route to get there. That way, I had a win already in my day before I even got there, and I wasn't focused completely on.
No, I know. It's great.
Balance,
if you're doing that run, it's like, instead of just staying on the 101, you know what? I'm going to take the cutoff and go through Watsonville and Santa Cruz, and then cut back up north.
I actually have stores in Watsonville.
Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful
driving is one of our favorite things to do.
Yeah.
We get in the car and go. We're like, let's go on a road that's not on the map, or maybe you're not supposed to go on. Let's see what path we can find, and that's what we do.
Well, I think that's why a 4-wheel drive SUV is mandatory transportation, because you never know if you're going to hit a dirt road,
or that you might just want
to. It might be time. Well,
we've done all that.
We've done that. We do that. We go to Costa Rica, and it's like, you know what? The road's washed out. Well, all right, let's go.
We'll be okay.
Driving.
Yeah.
Exactly. But that's where the travel ones came from, though. I needed to make wins outside of just being a successful salesperson.
Right.
I think that's a very, very healthy way to look at it. So, and that's, that you're 100% right. That's the perspective you got to bring to something. Otherwise, if all you're focused on is the destination, you're going to miss what you see along the way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So have a good trip.
Thank you.
I am jealous, but I'll be following you.
Yeah, so. And we're gonna get you some products.
Yes.
Oh, perfect.
So, we're getting you out of box, so you'll have some goodies.
It'll be your kit.
Totally appreciate it.
Yep, the Wellness Essentials travel kit.
Right?
Yeah.
Boom.
Inspired by you.
There you go. Well, I appreciate the time, and
absolutely.
I'll make sure to have all your links on my website so they can just go directly over to your pages. And maybe I'll see you at a farmer's market or at Rafi's Lounge or somewhere.
Yeah.
Sounds great, man. I look forward to it.
Nice meeting you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Pleasure meeting you. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Bye.
All right. Bye.